Okay, so what is the decision advantage? Well, every organization has smart people and solid intentions. Yet what we're seeing is decisions are still slow. They slow down. Priorities drift, teams interpret information differently, and critical choices lack clear rationale. As leaders, we see this every day. The real problem isn't talent, it's decision friction. You are seeing this impact in your businesses. Decisions get delayed because the rationale isn't clear, no one knows what's going on. Teams debate opinions instead of causes because they don't share a common way to assess the information. Cross-functional work is harder than it should be, which leads to rework, misalignment, missed opportunities, number one priorities, etc. And as the pace of business increases, these gaps that we're seeing are becoming more expensive and more visible. So what the decision advantage delivers is it gives your organization a measurable way to understand how decisions are actually made. It reveals where process breaks down, what is actually slowing the teams down, and why alignment is slipping. And once we see those gaps, we can remove the bottlenecks that are weakening the execution. So in a typical 30, 60, 90 days, what would you see? In 30 days, we focus on clarity, getting a clear view of the decision-making performance, how decisions are being made, not what decision was made or what the outcome was, but how they're being made, where interpretation is breaking down, where assumptions are unclear, and where misalignment is costing time and energy. At the 60-day mark, we're working on the improvement part. So teams are beginning to use a consistent way to assess information, to communicate the decisions, and to align around trade-offs. Noise decreases, clarity increases, and cross-functional work moves with fewer delays. In 90 days, we're seeing a measurable impact in the environment where decisions are moving even faster with greater accuracy. Leaders are sharing a common logic, which makes strategy easier to execute, and rework decreases because the thinking behind the decisions is visible and aligned. So why are leaders adopting this now? Organizations are feeling pressure on speed, accuracy, and alignment. AI is actually accelerating the pace at which teams must interpret information and make decisions. And when decision friction is high, execution slows, costs rise, and strategy loses momentum. These are the problems that many leaders are trying to fix in their environment. And Decision Advantage gives leaders a way to measure that decision quality, strengthen the team alignment, and improve the flow of decisions across the business. So if you'd like a walkthrough, more information about the system, please book a session with me. I'd love to talk with you. Thanks. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for popping over here to hear a little bit more about the decision advantage. When I talk about the decision advantage, I'm really talking about organizational wisdom. Every company has knowledge scattered across teams, tools, dashboards, and in people's heads, or in a ton of spreadsheets. But organizational knowledge is not the same as organizational wisdom. Wisdom blends talent, skill, experience, and understanding to make good decisions. The decision advantage is the system that brings it all together so leaders can see clearly, align faster, and make decisions that hold up under pressure. So I love natural consequences, and I'll tell you a little bit about my parenting style. So as a parent, I would use natural consequences quite frequently to augment my parenting style. And when my kids were little, we lived in Houston at the time. And my son, being a rough and tumble boy, liked to kick dirt piles. And I would tell him, stop kicking the dirt piles. It could be a fire ant nest. And it didn't matter how many times I told him that, he didn't get it. Until one day, he kicked a pile and it was a fire ant nest and he got bit by the fire ants. So I scooped him up and took him away and got him out of that dangerous environment. It was a natural consequence that I was okay with him experiencing. But you would never have a natural consequence like letting your 2-year-old walk out into the street to learn that it's dangerous to cross the street. With little ones, when you're teaching them how to cross the street, you're taking them by the hand, you're walking them to the sidewalk, down to the end of the block, you're teaching them to stop, to look both ways, to use the crosswalks, to push the little crosswalk button in the intersections, and you're teaching them how to get across the street. How to use good judgment, when to move fast, when to step back up onto the curb because you misjudged it. So you're giving them not only the skill, but you're helping them build that experience so that they can cross the street on their own. And as parents, you hope your kids are taking those lessons and being wise. Now, Teenage boys never are really wise about these things, and they wait until the last minute, and then they try to cross the street, and people are honking at them and yelling at them. And, that's just the lack of wisdom that we see in teenage boys. But I don't want to stereotype, but it was just a little humor right there. So as you've taught your child to cross the street, you also don't want to hold the hand of your 30-year-old to teach the 30-year-old how to cross the street because you never took time to teach your 30-year-old. And that's the same thing that we have to do in our leadership teams. We really need to build that organizational leaders, which is a way of organizational wisdom in our leaders, which is a way to institutionalize wisdom that survives people leaving and new people joining and rapidly changing environments. We live in the age of disruption. We face new tech every day, new shiny objects in the environment every day, a new application, a new AI thing, a new bot, a new whatever. And disruption is coming from every corner of our environment, geopolitical, environmental, socioeconomic. There are tons of things that are impacting us as leaders every day that we've never experienced before. So how do we as leaders learn from our experiences so that our businesses thrive? That's where the decision advantage comes in. It is a system. Decision forensics is one of the systems we have under the decision advantage umbrella, and it's like forensic accounting, but for strategy. It helps us understand the clues, the data, qualitative and quantitative information that made the decision successful, not just the outcome of the decision. It helps us measure our decision-making process to understand what's working and where our gaps are. It answers the question, could we have made a better decision faster? It's also knowledge. What are the technical gaps? Do we need to improve data and analytics fluency? Should we focus on AI fluency among our leadership teams? Are data and analytics systems giving us the right information at the right time? Do we need real-time analytics, or is just-in-time analytics okay? It answers questions like, are we interpreting and using the information at our fingertips in the very best way? It's also a leadership mindset. Can our leaders operate within a growth mindset? Are our leaders empowered to lead high-performing teams? Are leaders able to think critically and model good critical thinking behaviors? It answers the question, how do we strengthen our leadership competency to fill our leadership bench with top performers? It sounds like a lot, right? But it's really not. So just like we would do a 360-degree interview when we're doing performance evaluation and leadership coaching and that kind of thing, we do the same 360, but we do it on how decisions are being made. We gather information in the environment. We look at every angle to uncover a comprehensive gap analysis that allows us to strategically target areas with laser focus to drive real measurable value. It's tracked. It's got data behind it. We can see the impact of the system because what gets measured gets managed. And that's where the true growth happens. We start to focus on how to get it right instead of needing to be right. All right, so sounds interesting? Hopefully it does. If you'd like to learn a little bit more and see how the system can work for you, book a call with me. Or head back over to the website so that you can see some more videos about what the decision advantage is, like decision forensics, deeper, insight compass, and data-driven leadership. Hope you enjoyed the video.